It is day 12 of the 2020 Puzzle Advent Calendar, a 24-day collaboration of puzzle makers and YouTubers where we are bringing you a new puzzle for every day of December leading up to Christmas. The collaboration is spread out across many different channels, so make sure to click on the link in the description to the Puzzle Advent Calendar playlist so you can see a new one every day and really have that full Advent Calendar experience. Yesterday we saw a creation by NK Cubed, and if you don't know who NK Cubed is, he's the guy who we've been cosplaying as for the past year. I mean, look at this image is from 2018. He's got the mask, he's got the long hair. I think he may be a time traveler sent back to 2020 to warn us, but he failed and just started making puzzles instead. That would also explain how he made the split 1x2x3 before I did. Anyway, I think this collaboration is super cool. I remember it was back in middle school that I specifically started doing this whole FDM desktop 3D printer puzzle design thing. And back then it was pretty much just me and NK Cubes trying to one-up each other every weekend on Thingiverse. And now, fast forward, and I am somehow a freshman in college. The community has grown to be something really awesome. We've got incredibly talented puzzle designers of all ages and from all over the globe. And I think this Puzzle Advent Calendar tradition is a really great way to bring us all together at the end of the year and just keep things interesting. So big thanks to Cubes Made Easy for putting this together this year and the past couple of years. Now on to the actual video. So I have two puzzles in front of me. One of them that I first presented back in June. This is called the Pythagominx. And the other, which is today's puzzle, is what I'm calling the Pythagominx. It's pretty much the same thing, but with more triangles. And Pythagoras was all about the triangles. The ancient Pythagoreans literally adopted this 10-triangle geometry right here as the sacred symbol of their secret math cult. And what are we here in this community but another secret math cult? So the Pythagominx over here is a hybrid of two puzzles, a gimmick and a Pythagominx. The Pythagominx has been shape transformed into a tetrahedron, into a triangular prism, so it preserves one of its triangular phase patterns. And then the rest you sort of see all around here looking all funky. And then the extra 6 pieces, which are here, here, and here, they are identical to the 6 pieces you would find on another puzzle that is usually a triangular prism, that is a gimmick. It's called the gimmick. It's not a gimmick puzzle. I guess it's kind of a gimmick puzzle because it's easy to solve. But the point is it's a hybrid of a Pythagominx and a gimmick. And I really like the Pythagominx. I'm really proud of it. And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I gave it trivial tips, if I split these rectangular pieces right here in half diagonally so that you have more triangles. Triangles are cool, probably be super easy to do, just add trivial tips, and this is a pretty good turning puzzle already on the Pythagominx axis, and the gimmick turns. And it's really fun to turn. So, you know, I thought, make another version with trivial tips. Easy to do, right? I was kind of wrong about that last part. I'd never made a puzzle with trivial tips before, and even though they should be the simplest thing, mechanically speaking, there were some difficulties. Some of these trivial tips, they really like to turn on their own, like this one just did. And some of them just don't really want to turn at all, which is disappointing. And I think my printer tolerances must have been off because these are the same files, they're all the same piece. They should turn just as well, but it's really sort of all over the place. Anyway, the idea is there, and I'll definitely make another version of this in the future because I think this is a cool concept, and I'll show you why. On the gimmick, on the Pythagominx, you've got all these planes of rotation that seem to clash with each other. You've got the Pythagominx turns, and at the same time, you've got the gimmick turns happening at a slightly different angle. So you've got this sort of chaotic look going on. And it's really, it looks nice and ordered when it's solved. And then once you start scrambling it, it gets really chaotic really quickly. And you've got all these different angles happening, and it's not totally clear what's going on, even though at the base it really is just a pretty simple Pythagominx. So you've got the same thing over here with the Pythagominx. So you should have these gimmick layers, and then you have your Pythagominx layers on top of that. And then you just have the extra trivial tips right here, and that's just a cool look. I tried to sticker this in Christmas colors, and it doesn't look that great with like the dark stickers on dark pieces, but you get the idea. And yeah, just scrambling this, you see that similar thing where it gets very chaotic very quickly. You've got all these pieces moving around. Yeah. I ran out of springs to use on this one, and I also fell back into an old and very bad habit of just using random screws I had lying around to hold it together. So each of these axes has a different style of screw holding it to the core. Yeah, that's disgusting, I know. So the turning isn't as good as it is with this one, which uses speed cube screws, springs, and washers. One advantage that this one does have, though, just mechanically, is that it actually is more stable. The Pythagominx, it does have a problem where it locks up a lot because these pieces out here, they're holding each other in place. And as soon as you make a turn along this axis right here, or really any axis once it's scrambled, it starts to lock up a little bit because the pieces still want to jump out and they get caught on the edges of other pieces as you turn. So I added some feet to those pieces on this one, which has totally solved the problem. So any Pythagominx or Pythagominx mods I make in the future will definitely be more stable than either of these because I have the hardware of this one and the little added feet holding the gimmick pieces in place on this one. I hope you appreciate the Pythagominx as much as I do. Designing and building this has been a nice distraction from everything else that's happening right now. If you're not already, make sure to subscribe to Nathan Wilson, who is presenting tomorrow's puzzle. I appreciate Nathan Wilson as a puzzle modder and also as a fellow first name, last name YouTube channel. I'll be back with another puzzle, different from these ones, on day 20. So until then, make sure to check that link to the playlist in the description so that you can see all the other puzzles between now and then. How do you end a video?